Welcome, everybody, this evening to our regular business meeting of the Board of School Trustees here on December 11th, 2023. Thank you all for coming this evening. With that, I will ask Mr. Babjack to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. If everyone could please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Item 2 on tonight's agenda is our Board of School Trustees Resolution of Accommodation Awards. The first one being our Crown Point Community Library Bookmark Contest winners. We'll get to those and read those individually. And also our 2023 Corporation Christmas Card Design winners as well. With that, can I have a motion to approve the 2 accommodation awards this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Our technology person in the back, Mr. Gill, should probably be up here in about 30 seconds. Because I ain't gonna figure, okay, we're good. He figured it out, see? That's why we have people in every department.
No, that's me.
That's mine. Oh, okay, we're good to go. We had a motion by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Babjack. Question or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I'll now present those 2 awards. So if I could have the following individuals come forward and face the crowd. Lexi Staniz, is that correct? Elliot Steiger. Rory Reed. And Lauren Clemens. All good? Okay. So I will read the accommodations. Resolution of Accommodation. The Crown Point Board of Schools Trustees is honored to commend these individuals for meritorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees of the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to these individuals for winning the Crown Point Community Library Bookmark Contest. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity. So our K through 2 second grade category winner from MacArthur Elementary is Lexi Stanis. Stay up front here for a minute, please. Thank you. Our 3rd through 5th grade category winner is Elliot Steiger, 3rd grader, Eisenhower Elementary. So I assume our 6th grader is not here? We'll make sure we get her that award, and that was Rory Reed. And our 9th grade, 12th grade category, Lauren Clemens, 12th grader, Crown Point High School. She's not here either, okay? So congratulations. Are you part of the next accommodation award? No. I'm sorry, I did not know that. I apologize. So why don't you go ahead and explain the contest and what we have here tonight? Thank you.
So this is our first contest. We had almost 500 entries for all the grade levels. These are 2 of our 4 winners. We were excited to print those bookmarks up. We printed them up and had a presentation at the library. The girls won not only bookmarks for them to distribute to their family and friends, but they won a special water bottle where we had their bookmark printed on it. And we had a display at the library where people could pick up those bookmarks, and we've already had to reorder them another time. All 500 bookmarks are already gone already, so we're really excited about that. So we're looking forward to doing this every year.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate and congratulations to you young ladies on the award. So we're gonna get some pictures here from Miss Allen. And then, yeah, oh, we have the artwork or the picture of it? Yes, let's make sure, Brooke, we get
Oh,
that.
yeah, hold your-
Or do we
hold
have
your
that?
one.
Do we have both of
Yeah.
those? Oh, okay. And parents, you can get a picture after Miss Allen's done, so you get a nice centered picture if you'd like. Oh, stay there for 1 second here. I think we want to get a picture from Dad here.
Thank you, thanks,
And
ladies.
thank you very much. So if I could also have come forward at this time, Saled Herrera, did I say that right? Okay, Saled Herrera and Emma Kalin. Emma's not here? Okay, okay. Come on forward. You get to take center stage all by yourself. The Crown Point Board of School Trustees is honored to commend Saled Herrera for meritorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees of the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to Saled, ninth grader at Crown Point High School, for having the winning design for the front of the school corporation's 2023 Christmas card. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity dated this 11th day of December 2023. And for those of you that, haven't seen it, here is Saled's design for the front of our Christmas card. So on behalf of the school corporation, congratulations. And then we also have, for to be able to distribute those, all right? And just because she's not here, let me just do, there is the back of the Christmas card. You wanna put it on. So, congratulations.
You want to get with her for that picture?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
They could,
So even with mine off, it's still.
Well, he's on now, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But if it does it again, we could just use mine.
okay.
Yes, folks, you're welcome to leave. You're more than welcome to stay as well. But, okay, you're welcome.
And clears it out.
He's on two, so it's not bad.
We good?
I think so,
Okay.
because there's three on. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Item 3 tonight is a public hearing for additional appropriation. So I'd like a motion to suspend our regular meeting and open the public hearing on additional appropriation.
So moved. Oh,
Motion by Ms. Basin, seconded by Mr. Vassar.
yes.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. With that, 3.02, Patrons' comments on hearing item, there being none. We'll move on to item 3.03, Resolution 839, Education and Operations Fund Additional Appropriation. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight, we've held our public hearing regarding our additional appropriations for the Education and Operations Fund. As you're aware, those budgets are adopted and passed in the fall in this case, 2022, for the calendar year 2023. Even at that point, when we ask you to pass those budgets, we don't even have a funding formula for the second half of 2023, let alone the start of the next school year. I don't know what our funding is or therefore our expenditures will be as we kick off the 23-24 school year. So with that, we continue to make good business decisions, and at the end, as we come to the end of 23, need your permission to spend some additional money above and beyond the approved budgets. We have excess cash that we're able to use to do that, as well as some additional revenues that have come into play since those budgets were adopted. So with that, we're asking for your permission, your approval of additional $2 million for the Education Fund and $3 million for the Operations Fund.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration for the approval of Resolution 839 for additional appropriation in the Education Fund in the amount of $2 million and the amount of $3 million for the Operations Fund. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Basin. Questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Reese. Item 3.04, can I have a motion to close the public hearing and resume our regular business meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Babjack, second by Ms. Basin. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. With that, item 4 on tonight's regular business agenda, patrons' registered comments. There being none, we'll move on to item 5, our consent agenda. Dr. Terrell.
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, we have the minutes of our regular business meeting. We have our personnel agenda and then the voucher registered checks as listed.
You've heard the recommendation for the shortest consent agenda I've seen in a long, long time. May I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Basin, seconded by Mr. Smith. Question or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
I abstain.
One abstain. So we have a motion, or 4 approvals, 1 abstain, with Mr. Vassar on the abstain. Diana? Okay? Item 6, 6.01, approve resolution 840 related to the Crown Point School Corporation agreement with the CPEA 2023-2025. Mr. Kiwa.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, and members of the board. Just bringing to you today a resolution which allows us to continue a practice that we have been doing for many years. When we hire a new teacher, the first 3 years of their employment in Crown Point, they receive a $3,000 contribution in a 403B. In year 4, though, they do receive a $3,000 increase to their base salary. The recently has taken issue with this in our contract, and it's forced us to pull this language out of our contracts and put it in this form here so that we can continue this process without being cited by for a conflict in our bargaining agreement. So we bring this resolution to you today to continue what we think has just been a fantastic hiring tool for all of our new teachers to allow for that $3,000 increase to the base salary to happen in year 4. And just so you know, this language literally is taken right out of the contract and put right into this resolution. So it just appears somewhere differently now. What we are asking for is the approval of this resolution this evening so we can continue this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiwa. You've heard the recommendation of the administration for the approval of the passing of Resolution 840. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Babjack. Question or discussion? Just for those maybe watching at home, Mr. Kiwa, you just explain what ERB is or who ERB is?
Well, they basically, it's the employment board that talks or monitors all employee relations for the state of Indiana. And they monitor all the bargaining agreements between schools and unions across the state of Indiana. And there's a rubric we have to follow. And they took a little bit of an issue with this language, and they requested that we go ahead and, thank you, Dr. Chair, and requested that we, take that language out of the contract due to the fact that they just, didn't agree with it.
That's enough for us. I just want to make sure people understood it wasn't nothing between us and the
Absolutely not.
Teachers Association.
Nothing at all. We're excited that we kind of came up with this creative solution, and frankly, we just want to thank the Teachers Association for thinking creatively with us this bargaining season to keep this wonderful facet going in our contract, or in our agreement.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. 6.02, policy additions and revisions, the second reading and adoption. Mr. Akiwa.
Thank you. Turn it back on there. Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, last month, we brought to you a second set of policies to have a first reading for consideration and adoption. And as you can see right there, we've listed them again for you this evening. That's policy 2300, disclosure of student list, policy 4013 for homeless students, 4304, criminal organization and activities in schools, 4340, acceptable use of internet filtering software, and policy 5530, exit interview designee. We ask this evening that we waive the second reading and approve these policies to put them in play going forward as of this evening. So we are requesting the approval from the board this evening.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration waiving the second reading and approval of the policies, revisions, replacements, and additions as presented. I have a motion.
I'd move to waive the second reading and move to adopt this resolution.
Motion by Mr. Smith,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Vassar. Questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Crown Point High School physical education equipment. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. As part of the planned construction at the high school, we now have the ability to utilize what used to be the old weight room as the new cardiovascular and training facility. As part of the curriculum that was adopted last month, this is planned equipment to move into that now available space. We are utilizing the Sourcewell National Purchase Agreement contract for pricing on this with fitness and exercise solutions. We also made sure we got some more quotes from some other vendors just to make sure we're getting the best deal. So with that, we're recommending approval of the weight room and cardio training equipment and installation at Crown Point High School, the amount of $185,905 to fitness and exercise solutions.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration for approval of the weight room and cardio training equipment and the cost of installation at the Crown Point High School in the amount of $185,905 to fitness and exercise solutions. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Babjak, second by Ms. Bazin. Question or discussion?
Mr. Reese, just if you could clarify, the equipment that was in that weight room previously, has that been relocated to a different area of the building, or?
No, that was actually physical weight equipment. This is more cardiovascular. Think treadmills, arc trainers, ellipticals.
But the weights themselves were,
I think we traded those.
They were
Didn't we
traded
trade those
in.
in?
Yeah, those-
trade those in, obtain new weight equipment, and then this is replacing that,
This is going into that space.
into that space, correct?
Correct.
But this is new equipment.
Brand new equipment.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Year-end business office procedures. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Ask permission tonight, as we complete the end of the calendar year, which is our fiscal year for our budgets, we ask, and since this is the last scheduled board meeting of the calendar year, we ask between today's date, December 11th, and the end of the year, December 31st, have your permission to pay bills through that period. One, to make sure we're on time with our payments, but also to help us close out the fiscal year at the end of the calendar year for us. The other thing, we ask permission, we don't believe this is going to be necessary, but just in case something crazy were to happen, we also ask permission to do interfund transfers. In case we have a shortfall, we want to make sure all of our funds finish in the black. So with that, any bills we pay between now and the end of the year, or any transfers we make, will come to you for approval at the January board meeting. So with that, we're recommending permission to pay bills between now and December 31st and do interfund transfers as necessary.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration to issue checks prior to board approval and temporary interfund transfers, if necessary, for December. All checks issued after the closing date of the regular business docket in December will be brought to the school board at the January meeting and be included on the January claim dockets. May I have a motion for that procedure?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Basin, second by Mr. Smith. Questions from Mr. Reese? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Akiwa and Mr. Reese, for all of those today. We have item 7, superintendent's discussion groups, 7.01. Start with you, Mr. Vassar, if anything from Cedar Lake.
We met last Tuesday evening, and there was nothing that was discussed that affects our school system whatsoever.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
This covers October, November, September, October, November, I think is a recapitulation, but most of it has to do with facade grants, but I did get a summary if any of the board members want to see it, which has to do with the areas of the districts for the redevelopment commission, the tax increments, the dollar amounts from each area. So if you guys would like to have a copy of what I received, I'd be happy to forward it along to you. So just sharing information and knowledge.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We'll move on to 7. There's nothing in Winfield, so nothing to report at this point. 7.02, Director of Elementary Education, Mr. Chiquina.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. Just want to take a few moments to highlight and recognize our Bulldog Buddies preschool program. Under the direction and leadership of Christy Elsey, our Bulldog Buddies teachers and staff work with about 180 of our littlest learners at 4 of our 7 elementary schools. Those 4 schools have really done a great job embracing the program, and the teachers and instructors in the Bulldog Buddies program and all the staff have really done a great job this year creating truly an inclusive environment with all types of learners learning together. They're working hard to engage with families and also to get out into the community and connect with the community. And I can tell you, if you're ever having a bad day, you can go and visit one of our preschool classrooms, and you will leave there with a smile on your face. Those students truly love coming to school each and every day. Lately, I've been lucky to attend and hear about many of the different holiday programs and events and music programs and lots of different philanthropy that's happening at our elementary schools this time of year. Our schools put so much thought and hard work into making these meaningful experiences for our students. And I just, this time of year, it's great to reflect on my first 6 months in this position. And I'm just truly grateful for all the hard work that our teachers and administrators, paraprofessionals, front office staff, custodians, cafeteria, everyone, for everything they do to create meaningful experiences for our students, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And one quick story, I had a principal send me a message from a parent about an hour and a half ago, and this was a student who got redistricted to a new school. And it was a long message, but it was just really heartfelt and really, really great to see that this student was very sad to leave their previous school. But here in December, the student's doing well, and they're really happy to be at their new school. So our teachers and our schools have done a great job adapting to a lot this year, but it's been a good start. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiquina. Director of Secondary Education, Mrs. Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I want to take an opportunity to invite you to 2 upcoming Events at Taft Middle School, we have an orchestra concert tomorrow at 6 p.m., as well as we have then a band concert on the 13th, same time, 6 p.m. If any of you were able to go to the high school this past weekend for their holiday spectacular, they had for the first time ever, band, choir, and orchestra all came together and performed, and it really was a remarkable experience for both the audience and the students who collaborated with their respective directors. And this is available on YouTube, so if you missed it and weren't able to view it, you can watch it if you're looking for some holiday spirit, but it really is a great performance and a great tradition that they just started this year at the high school, combining all three of those. So we do hope that if your schedules allow, that you'll continue to take advantage of those opportunities. At the high school, they're also gearing up for the end of the semester with final exams starting this week, which I'm sure the students will be very excited to complete and to demonstrate what they know and what they've learned this year. The high school also is continuing to support community efforts through an angel tree. They are doing a shoe drive, a coat drive, and really it's pretty impactful when we see all that our students, our sponsors, our teachers, and admin are doing throughout the corporation at the middle schools. We've seen collections of white socks that have been donated to the Benjamin Junior VA outpatient clinic. They also just recently raised funds for the Lake County Animal Control and for Phil's Friends, as well as then Taft also did an angel tree for students and families that are in need this holiday season. Wheeler continues to pursue their philanthropic opportunities as well, and really just instilling this culture of thinking about others and really being very service oriented. So I'm very appreciative and very proud of all that the secondary is doing to support our own students as well as the community. And rounding out, if you were able to attend, Wheeler had the first musical performance in the past 5 years. They had The Lion King on December 1st and 2nd. Really another great showcase of our students' talent. So I think when we start with our artists that were here with us today, really it scopes from drawing to performance, and we're very fortunate to be able to have so many opportunities for our students that our parents are supportive of and that we have sponsors and administrators supportive of. So wish you a happy holiday and hope that you can join us in some of our holiday celebrations taking place throughout the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Exceptional Education, Mrs. Paskus.
Good evening, President Angel and members of the board. I wanted to share two important items with you this evening. The first would be the results of our rating from the state on what they call RDA, Results-Driven Accountability. And each school district receives an annual determination based on data reports we're required to submit, as well as the 17 IEP federal indicators. And we were rated meets requirements, which is means we're in the top 75% of districts in the state. And we're level 1, which we don't need specific intervention. So I want to thank all of our staff and administrators and families, because without them, we couldn't have done that. Also, our December 1 count is an annual count of students with disabilities that is used to calculate some additional funding the district receives. We were up 66 students with IEPs, so that's pretty significant for us, and we're definitely feeling that. And I think just areas of interest would be our deaf or hard of hearing population went from 20 to 24 in a year. That's pretty significant. Our autism population went from 183 to 206. That's also significant. But some of what we want to do is now dig into our move-in data. We had over 200 students move into our district with IEPs, and many of those students came with some significant needs. So we will dig into this and track their eligibilities and see what part that played in our numbers.
Mrs. Paskus, what is the total number then, corporation-wide?
So I do an unduplicated count. Mr. Reese will explain the duplicated count in a moment, but we were at 1437.
Thank you. Chief Human Resource Officer, Mr. Kiwa.
Thank you. Just one brief but important note to share as we begin to move into the next calendar year is we will begin to sharpen our pencils and begin discussions about staffing as we roll up our numbers from this year into next year. When I say next year, I mean next school year. So those discussions begin as soon as, January, and as we walk into February, we're starting to target what our staffing needs might be. So we really want to make an effort to be early in this process so that we can, start any interviewing and targeting and get some closure on some of this, not only for staffing, but for budgetary reasons as well, moving forward. So we're looking forward to rolling up those numbers here as we roll into 2024. And that's all I have this evening, and happy holidays to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. 7.06, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Mrs. Paskus was mentioning, December 1 was a big count for special ed and contributes a little over $6 million to the school corporation as part of the state funding formula. This year was a significant increase in those numbers of students, and she mentioned the non-duplicated number. We're allowed to have a duplicated number for those students who have either in the state's words severe or mild, moderate disabilities. If they have communication issues as well, that's a duplicated count. So with that, our duplicated count this year is up 150 students. We were up to 1,732. So the number Ms. Passes gave you was around 1,400. So about 300 students with the duplicated count. Just to give you an idea, if you look back 3 years, our average growth in that student count was about 70 students. Even if you go back 6 years, the average growth was 70. So 150 in 1 year is almost a doubling of what our average has been the last few years. So I want to thank the technology staff, Tammy Loosemore out of our office handles our data exchange, and Mrs. Paskus and her staff for making sure we capture all those students who have IEPs to make sure we get as much funding as possible to provide those services for that student. And truly, about 2 weeks to make sure we got everybody dialed in. They did a remarkable job with the new student information system to get that done. With that, it also brings me to a point where this is my 365th day back as Chief Financial Officer. And I want to thank the board for this past year, Dr. Terrell, the rest of the cabinet administrative team. It's been a very rewarding year to come back and slide right back into this role, and personally very rewarding for me to come back in and see what we're doing for students in the community. I really appreciate the opportunity again. So I just want to thank you for that, and I wish everybody happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. 7.07, Director of Communications, Mrs. Allen. Oh, she must have no list or nothing.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank Brooke Robinson, who is our music teacher at Eisenhower Elementary. She and I recently collaborated on teaching a Learn Academy session for our teachers. She reached out and she said, I was thinking about teaching something on Parent Square, and I said, so was I. So we collaborated and named our session Parent Square with Brooke Squared. We win for the best title. But it was a great session, and I was really glad that she thought to collaborate, and it was nice to have a teacher perspective there as I worked through that with all of our teachers. Also, big thank you to our curriculum team, Jeremy Walker, Annie Basser, Amy McAllister, and Joe Bisick, as well as Matt LeBlanc, Dan White, and Brian Trapp at the high school. We had our ambassador session there last week. We talked a lot about technology, toured some classrooms, and obviously everyone was just wowed by the work that our students are doing. And a special shout out to Mr. LeBlanc, who 3D printed little miniature bulldogs for everyone to take home with them, which was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. 7.08, Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Terrell.
Thank you. This evening, just want to bring to your attention, appreciate the fact that we continue to have people here in our administration on cabinet who continue to lead, not only just here in our district, but at the state level as well. Mr. Akiwa recently was able to present down at IASBO at the same time that the superintendent's winter conference was going on, and we actually had people leaving the superintendent's conference to go over by Plainfield, I believe it was, and go and listen to Artie talk over there about HR stuff. So appreciate that, and the continued reach there. As you know, Brooke is doing that, still leading our public relations administrators throughout the district. Wanted to let you know, at the winter superintendent's meeting, I was elected as the president of the Coalition of Growing and Suburban Schools in our state. So looking forward to leading in that capacity this year. Kind of a shock to walk in, and it's kind of like if you're not there, you get voted in, but I was there, and they voted in. So, but appreciate that and look forward to that. But with that, that leads right into my second point tonight, and that is just a note of thank you to our administrators, to our teachers, to our community, to you, the board. Wherever I've been, it just seems lately over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've heard nothing but, man, we can't believe how good things are going on in Crown Point, and that's everything from the athletics with football and soccer and girls soccer making runs and the different things there, but to our fine arts programs, to our kids programs, to the things that are happening in our buildings, to walking into the state superintendent's conference and having the individuals who lead, like our board association or our superintendent's association or our IASBO association, coming up and saying, all we see is the great things that are happening in Crown Point, and that's a lot to do with social media. It's a lot to do by word of mouth. So thank you to Brooke and what she's done, but she started that, and now it's just gone into where we have so many people that continue to share the great things that are happening here, and I just appreciate that. So thank you to everyone, and again, as has already been echoed, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all those who are out there as well.
Thank you, Dr. Terrell. With that, 8.01, other business of the board.
Yes, Mr. Angel,
Yes, sir.
if I may. Part of our requirements is that we serve redevelopment commissions. And I know that you go to Winfield, and Mr. Smith is in Crown Point. I myself go to Cedar Lake for those meetings. And just wonder if there's something we can discuss, that we go to these because they're required to go to, but yet there's no compensation to go to these meetings. Is that something that we can discuss as a board?
To answer, that's not something based on statute we're allowed to get paid for. Mr. Reese, because you'll explain it better than me, so I don't have to duplicate it, I'll let Matt kind of explain the statute on that, the two of them.
Sure. So 2 parts of the statute. One, you're allowed a board member to be on each of the different redevelopment commissions. That position is appointed by the redevelopment commission, not by the school board. So if you're appointed by the school board, that's where you can garner a compensation for being part of a committee. But since you're not appointed by the school board, you're appointed by the redevelopment commission. That's why we're not allowed to compensate you for that redevelopment participation.
So in answer to that, Mr. Vassar, I'd say we probably need to reach out to the Indiana School Board Association and see what channels we can, so-called approach that.
Well, and I wasn't, it sounded self-serving, okay? But I'm thinking even in terms of gasoline, things of that nature, not just getting money to go somewhere. And we were appointed here by our board to serve in these, not by the redevelopment commission.
We approve the appointments for those select things, but we're actually appointed by them. So there's no,
But not by a name, by just a face.
correct, so we're not technically, by law, have to appoint, or if they recommended somebody, we could say technically no, in other words, but it's kind of our serving duty as a board member, if somebody would like to fill that role, to actually, so we have a voice in the room. So it's more of that, from their perspective, even though from ours, it's gonna do us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we really don't have a voice.
We don't, unfortunately, yet, but they're still working on that down at the state. Mr. Smith?
Yeah, in a bit of transparency, I sat on your position for quite a long time, and a couple of years at least, and I had conversations, I believe, with Todd and Matt on this exact issue, because I felt the same way. So we've had discussions about this before. Crown Point does pay the redevelopment commission appointee, the other two do not. So I do get paid through the city to attend, so did Tom Hoffman for 15 years or so, I don't know, however long Tom served. So My position's paid, which makes it even more unique and strange that the other two are not, which doesn't feel right, frankly. I'm not getting paid tons of money, I don't care about the money. They don't take the position for the money. But the point of it is, and I just want to be transparent with the board members, that the Crown Point position does compensate, I think. I mean, I've been compensated, Tom's compensated. I don't know if they'll always compensate. I don't know whose decision that is. But-
I have no idea.
The other positions do not, I don't believe.
So based on that information, what I would say is, I'll make it a point to reach out to both redevelopment commissions, find out kind of their structure, so to speak, with not knowing Winfield or Cedar Lakes, and just see what I can come back with.
Yeah. I mean, it's very frustrating to sit there and you can't say a word.
No, yes, it is. It's
Very
very
frustrating.
frustrating. Because we're just representing the students and the individuals that elected us for
Right.
the community to make sure it's best interest of their decisions if it affects school children. So, okay.
I mean, I don't know where, in Winfield and Crown Point, but we don't even sit with the commission members.
Oh, Winfield, you sit in the crowd as well.
Yeah.
Crown Point, you sit up at the table.
Okay, all right. They've made
They do,
advancements
they
here.
are kind, they allow me to speak, just for the record. So
Well,
I
I
don't
guess-
speak often, because that's none of my business, but they do allow me the voice.
Interesting.
I don't get to vote.
As somebody that hasn't served on any of those, it begs the question, if there isn't participation or voice, why do we even attend?
It's more for an.
We can get
yes.
that, we can get information from their minutes, we can, what's the point, I guess, is,
We could, while we've probably never also held strict requirements to attend. If something else is there, you can't make it, we can get that information, like you said, from the minutes.
right, but you guys have always done a very good job of being there, but,
And I can tell you, mine's more of word of mouth from those individuals rather than being there in attendance.
Right.
Being that, for one, Winfield isn't an active participant so far in the redevelopment commission compared to others, like obviously Crown Point's very big, and Cedar Lake is moving in that direction, to where they have a lot going on, well, especially now with the development, yes.
Right.
So,
And a new board.
and a new board, so.
And I think that's something that we might consider too, is as the changes happen in January, there might be an opportunity there for that conversation to see if anything's going to change.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
You're welcome. So, we have, the reorganization meeting needs to be scheduled, which we, go back and select our officers and approve the appointments for those redevelopment commissions. So we need to check calendars before
Yeah.
the, what date?
Well, so the reorganization meeting, if we go with the corresponding date to last year, would be January 4th, a Thursday. And we, in the past, have done this like first thing in the morning. One thing that I want you to consider as you're looking at your calendars is we also intend to have an executive session attached to that meeting to talk about the former administration building and the process that we're gonna go into as we look at, whatever the decision is of the board, whether it's to sell the building, keep the building, reutilize the building, whatever that might be. But we need to get some legal, advice on that property and start that process as well.
So if everybody could check their calendars, we just have to do it before what date?
Before, well, the way that the calendar rolls this year, before January 12th, because
So-
it's 15 days out, but the 15th is Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, so offices are closed, so it needs to be before the 12th.
So if the Thursday works, obviously, I'm not going anywhere for the holidays, not sure with you others, but we can schedule the 4th at 7:30, but if we need to move it a different day,
Are you thinking that, with the exec session, that's like an hour meeting then, or?
Probably total.
total
An
of
hour
an hour.
total, yeah.
For
I'm-
both.
fourth
Yes,
or
our reorganization meeting literally is 15-minute stops.
So we're looking tentatively.
Tentatively, but if we can, the sooner, but if somebody could check, everybody check their calendars, family events, 7:30 on the 4th?
I'm good with that.
It'd be great if we could walk out with that tonight, set. I mean, and here's why, because Diana has to make sure that she posted, and with the holidays, she's gonna be out of the office, and rightly so, over the break, so if we can get that, we can have it so she's automatically posting it and ready to go, so.
So everybody would just verify, everybody seems to be good with it, so we'll go ahead and get that date scheduled. Tim, if you check calendars and all that, and,
Yeah.
okay,
I
I
have,
understand.
as you know,
Yes.
multiple.
Okay, but
Calendars
if you let us know then, we'll wait to hear from you to put it in fine print, I'll make sure I relay to Diana. Okay?
That'd be great.
Any other board business?
And then once,
Oh, sorry.
the other part of that too is we need to let our attorney know so she can be there as well, so.
Okay. So with that, before we get to board statements of appreciation and recognition, normally the two I'm gonna mention would be under that category. Because these individuals provide a little bit more, I think they should be separated. So first is a letter we're writing to Cheryl Zick, our attorney for a long time. She is retiring. So this letter reads, Dear Cheryl, on behalf of the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation, we would like to offer sincere appreciation for the several years of service you have provided to our school corporation. Throughout the years, your representation and counsel have been greatly valued. Congratulations on your retirement and best wishes in your future endeavors. So Diana's gonna drop this off along with this little token of our thanks to her tomorrow at her office. She was unable to make it tonight. So, thank you.
Thinking about going, her son is actually participating in the Taft Band concert on Thursday, so I might just show up, call her out of the audience.
Oh.
She would kill me.
Yeah,
but
that
no,
wouldn't be good.
No, I'm
We'd
not.
probably get a raise in fees for next year. I don't wanna do that. So that, and the other mention is just, to a departed longtime employee and board member, Jerry Caravana, unfortunately passed last week. I stopped at his wake on the way here, and, when I came on the board, I didn't know Jerry too well, other than just meetings and sporting events and that, but when he was served as a board member, I got to know him with the little conversations we can have at the ISBA meetings down in Indianapolis. And what a wonderful human being, and it was all about what he could do for kids and making sure that they had what they needed. And he just served the Crown Point community for over 40 years with teaching and school board combined. So may Jerry rest in peace and blessings to his family during this difficult time. So,
Well said.
we can move on then to our own board statements, item 9 on the agenda, board statements of appreciation and recognition. Mr. Vassar?
I had the opportunity sometime last week to tour Crown Point High School with Mr. Marcinek and Mr. Gianfermi. And one thing that I noticed was really caught my ear because it didn't catch my ear. And that was, there was construction going on in the building. We covered probably every square inch of that building. Construction was going on, but you never heard anything. It was amazing. Felt like it was out of like Nehemiah in the Bible, you know, no sound was made. And whoever coordinated that, I don't know if they're even in the audience, but that was really impressive, that nothing was disturbed. I was really impressed by that.
Thank you, Mr. Vassar, and think about that with almost 3,000 students there as well. Just what could be, but isn't. So,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. Yes, it is. Thank you. Ms. Bazin?
So I had the opportunity last week to go to the Timothy Ball first grade informants, which instead of a performance for music, we talk about all of our very high-end music things that we're accomplishing. So I got to see first graders do some singing and dancing and participate in that because parents did not get off the hook easy. So they did a wonderful job. It was really fun to see how it all starts and then how it's translating at the end. Which leads me to my second opportunity. At the Rotary meeting last week, I was able to listen to, and I'm sure I'm butchering the actual name of it, but it is the Crown Point, I think it's a choral group. It's not just the choir, but it's a special performance choral group that they have. And they did an amazing job during lunch entertaining us with their vocal capacity and all of their holiday songs. So that was a great way to get into the holiday spirit, which leads me to my last thing. Sorry, I'm always very long-winded. I love our community, if you can't tell. So the last thing is, having been a second grade teacher in Crown Point, this is like such a fun time of year and also an exhausting time of year for all of our teachers, all of our staff, our administrators, our custodial staff. Everybody is involved in that. So thank you to everyone involved in making the holidays memorable and exciting for the kiddos. And I hope everyone has a very restful break after that and gets to decompress and enjoy their own holiday with their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Babjack?
Just want to say Merry Christmas to all the administrators, support staff, teachers, everybody in the organization. Hope everybody gets time to enjoy time off during the holidays because it's been a whirlwind of a first semester this year. So hope everybody enjoys time off with their family and friends.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
So I just want to, I did not know that Ms. Zick was retiring, so that's news to me as a fellow colleague. But I just wanted to again say thank you and echo those sentiments, because not only does she represent the school corporation well and the administration and all the issues we have going on a weekly, monthly basis, but she also led the board very well through some difficult times. And so just thank you, Cheryl, for everything that you've done, not only for the school corporation, but the board as well. And thank you for guiding and leading us so well. I want to build off what Ms. Ramirez says. I've been in several different community areas. I went into Centier Bank today, and also in Crown Point High School, dance club, I think it was boot donation.
I saw the same,
Yeah.
yes.
And so, but I think that's happened 4 times in the last 2 weeks. So, Ms. Ramirez, you are correct. It's everywhere, and it's awesome to see our students, our schools, our building leaders get behind causes, thinking about other people. And so I also want to thank our community supports who are out there doing it, like Centier Bank, and there's so many others, and none of them are coming to mind right now, but if somebody knows any, please feel free to add in. But, we're only as strong as our community, and man, our schools and our students get so much support, and it's wonderful to see. So thank you to all those organizations out there who are generous enough to let us teach our students well and to think of others and to give and willing to give their time and efforts to other people. So, and then lastly, I just want to echo the sentiments of the board. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all of you, and man, we have a lot to be thankful for. So when you look around this room, in particular, just the administrators and the people we have in place, what a blessing it is. And look, and that just goes from the top all the way down to the bottom. So when we talk about grounds and landscape, the grounds crews, the building crews, cafeterias, the workers, the teachers, we are very, very fortunate. So just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all. Wonderful families, wonderful students, and sure makes our job easy, that's for sure. So thank you to everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. My sentiments exactly, pretty much copy what everybody has said on that regarding the holidays and the blessings to all of you and your families. I was approached actually 3 different locations just this week with how, and I'll admit, my culture and artistic aspect, it's not there for the most part, but I also respect it. I know sports. I've been around sports since I was a kid. I was approached 3 times about how wonderful it is to have an auditorium at our middle school at Taft, and how the Lion King went well, the band concert there went well. And these are 3 different individuals. So other than knowing just outside, it wasn't even with my regular line of work. It's just, they approached me and said just how outstanding it is to have that venue available for their kids. And it kind of just hits the sentiments of what we touched base on, how fortunate we are here in Crown Point. And I keep bringing back that all of this is being done without a tax increase. And when you just put that into perspective, for those of you that don't understand, it's unfathomable almost that you can do that. And it's all about providing the best quality education and those additional supports that we offer with the arts, with the sports, and everything else. And so we are an amazing community. And once again, I thank all of you that, contribute to that, being here, fellow board members, our administrative team, our teachers, our support staff, and everybody that's involved in that, because we do live in a wonderful community. And I can tell you, we try to make sure that those decisions are being made, not just for each individual, but for everybody involved in those decisions. So with that, I will wish Merry Christmas and blessings to you and your families during this holiday season. With that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Basin, second by Mr. Babjack. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.